Welcome to the game.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean with the Game Room, and tonight we're building a warrior model from Heavy Gear Blitz. You already saw the unboxing, and now that we have completed our trial army, so we took all 12 models, we built an army list with them fitting with what the models we had, and that's what we're going to build now. So we're just going to go ahead and build those models. Now I've already built a couple, which I'll show you here in a second, but we're going to take the warrior sprue and we're going to build one of our warrior models, and let's just get down to it, and I'll show you how to do this. I mean, it can seem very daunting with the number when you look at a sprue like this. If you're not used to, these are models. These are models you are going to build. It's like a little model kit. So it can seem a little daunting, but once you have built one, they're very simple. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to identify our parts so that we have this. So all this is out of the Heavy Gear Blitz Assembly Guide, the 2021 version, which you can download for free off of Wargaming Vault or Drive-Thru RPG, I believe. I just printed this page out, but it's page 42, has the warrior sprue for Peace River. And it has the identification of, hey, here's what all the different parts are. And so the parts we're going to need for this are going to be, number one, we're going to need both of those hips, the engine, which is on the back, the head antennas, which is number 3, which is going to attach to the head. And your head is either 4 or 5 if you're building a command model. I haven't assigned command to any of mine yet. I guess I should probably do that soon, but we're just going to go with the regular head, and continuing down the line, the butt plate, which is literally, it's called the butt plate. We're going to need that, which is here, and the hips. Now the hips are kind of what the legs will attach into, and will allow you to position the legs a little bit. You have a little bit of leeway to kind of angle them how you want. To kind of make it a little more action pose, and you can make each one a little bit different. And the butt plate will go on to the back of that, which is basically just the armor along the back. The torso, which will come in a little bit. Now we're getting into the weapons. So the weapons really depend on which model you chose. And I'll just go ahead and I'll skip the weapons for right now. We'll come back to those. Here at 16, 17, 19, and 20, you have different arms. And so some are at like a, some are like this, and some are a little more like that. So you can kind of give them a little bit of an action pose. So like I said, I'd show you one of the models. And so here's what I'm talking about. This is one of the ones I've already completed. And there's this angle that goes down, and then there's this arm that just comes out, almost at a 90-degree angle. And one of the others, you can see this one does come out at, pretty much a 90-degree angle. So he's kind of got his elbow fully cocked, like he's got his weapon up and ready to go. And this one, not quite that angle. So you get different choices. So you can kind of mix and match how you want the arms to look depending on the action pose you're going for. But we will need one of each of those. Either we go with a left or a right, does not matter at this moment. We'll figure that part out. Let's see what else we need. This small box and large box is 21 and 22. I skipped 18. That's the shoulders. That's what these arms fit into. There's a slot underneath them, and the arms will slide into those, and we'll go over that shortly. So 21, 22, and 27 are the really gap fillers. They're there to kind of fill in any gaps. You could see on this model I used the ammo box just to kind of cover up this one little spot right here next to the armor plate and the butt plate, just to kind of cover the gap. I didn't put anything on this side, so you can kind of see that, yeah, you can see that gap there. Okay, so I'll go back and I'll put the smaller piece there, but I wanted to show you what those are for. They're just there extra pieces that kind of help fill in any gaps where you may not want to, you may not want those gaps or those holes. Okay, other pieces you're going to need. The armor plates for the hip front, right and left, which is 23 and 24. And then you're going to need, legs. Right leg, left leg, or right running leg. So here's what it looks like if they're running or if they're just standing still. Okay? So you have a little bit of leeway on which way you want to pose your model. But you are going to use most of the parts. Okay, so I haven't clipped off all the weapons here. You do have grenades up here at number 11. So let's talk about your weapons real quick. Depending on which version of the warrior model you put together, your light vibro blade, which is your hand-to-hand weapon, that's your knife. Okay. Which is this guy right here. Let's see, your LRP, which is your light rocket pod, which is number 10. Grenades are 11, so if your model has grenades, anti-personnel grenades or something, you can use those and stick those onto a hip or something. 12 is your light bazooka. 13 is your frag cannon. And 14 is your LAC, 15 is your MAC. Those are light and medium autocannons. So depending on, again, which warrior model you're going to put together. So to show you what your different options are, looking at the, again, from the assembly guide, you can see that the warriors, you've got a warrior, sweeper warrior, vanguard warrior, scourge warrior, a pylon warrior, or and then there's a chieftain upgrade. So depending on which one you use, the vanguard warrior uses that medium autocannon, whereas just a straight warrior model uses the light autocannon. Sweeper will use the medium frag cannon, and then a scourge uses the light bazooka, and a pylon also uses light autocannon. Now, some of them will have like the shoulder rocket pods. So again, just kind of depends on which model you want to put together. And so like the warrior uses a light rocket pod or rocket pack. The sweeper uses it. The vanguard has it. The scourge has it. So pretty much all of them except for the pylon have the rocket pack, which you can put on either the left or the right shoulder, up to you completely. And then some of this other stuff, like they all have the vibro blade, which you can attach it to the hip, or you can put it in their hand like they're getting ready to go after somebody. I mean, that's the main pieces that you're going to look at. And then, like the light armor anti-personnel grenade launcher, they don't really have not on the sprue, there's not really a piece for that. But you could use, you could substitute the grenades on the hip, something, whatever you want. It is a WYSIWYG system, but it's, a little give or take. I mean, you can't model every possible thing on there, or maybe you could. I'm not going to model everything on there, but I will put as much on here as I possibly can. So, those are the parts you're going to need, and so there's a lot on our little sprue here. Now, I want to show you one more thing, which this should hopefully come in handy if you're looking at the assembly guide. On page 45, there is a warrior assembly chart. Its pictures, they're out of order, so don't let that throw you off. They are out of order because you go from here, here's your basic parts to build your lower body, and then your head also. But the next picture to the right is all the pieces are put together. So it really goes from here down to here, where it shows, hey, we've got the hips, the butt plate, and the legs together. Now we're going to add on the different armor pieces and fill in any gaps. Then we're going to go here. We've got that put together, which it's actually here to this one. So you can see that, hey, I've glued him to his base, which you can glue him to your base, up to you. To now, for right now, I won't glue mine until I do the bases. I will show you when I go to paint them. I'll show you how I handle that. So then it comes back to this one, in which you have your legs connected, or your legs are all assembled. Now you're looking at, hey, here's the different pieces for the body structure, and your arms, building your arm with a weapon on it. The head that you put together up here. Then we go up to this one, in which we have the arms assembled and the head is on. Then we come over to this one, which we put the body on top, or the torso on top of the legs. And then to this one, where we complete him by attaching his arms. Okay, and again, if you haven't figured out, these are different models, different parts of models, because your weapons change. It's not that big. It's just an assembly, guys, just to try to give you some idea of how to put the models together. Like I said, once you have gone through this one time, it should be relatively simple and straightforward. If you've built models before, this shouldn't be a big deal. If you've not built models before, again, this can be a little daunting, potentially overwhelming if it's brand new to you. If you've never done this before, you're like, oh my gosh, there's all these little pieces. I'm going to take you through that. We're going to build a warrior model right now, so bear with me. I'll be right back. Okay, so the warrior that I want to build right now is going to be the Vanguard warrior, and for that I'm going to need the medium autocannon. So I'm going to want this guy, number 15, which is that right there. I need the rocket pack, so I'm going to need this. Light anti-personnel personnel grenade launcher, and then a vibro blade. So the vibro blade, I'm going to need that. So 3 different pieces, gun, rockets, and the blade. So now I know which weapons I want to use. Let's go ahead and start with cutting these off the sprues. You can use clippers. I don't recommend it for these. What I do recommend is a self-healing cutting pad, which is what I have down here below. You can get these at Michael's. Any of your Hobby Lobby would probably have it. You can always order them online. A good sharp blade. Be very careful, kids. Get parents' help. And the reason why is because these parts are so close together, when you try to get that clipper in there, it will. But it will also stretch the plastic on other sides and make it a little more difficult to clean them up. So what I want to do with these is I'm going to put this down flat, and I'm going to just cut straight down. Make sure the blade is right up against the model. You don't want to cut into your piece, and I'm going to trim it out that way. And this will make a little less cleanup that has to happen. Okay, and then to clean these edges up where it was attached to the sprue. Okay, you can see that right there. Just going to go in, get as close as possible, and then just trim that away. Okay. Now, if you still have some, you can always just use your blade, clean up any edges that you might need to clean up. Okay. I'm going to get the pieces I need to cut out for the legs, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now we have our parts that we're going to start with separated. I'm going to start with the hips, and I decided to go ahead with just the standing legs alone. And if you look at the back of the hips and the butt plate, you'll kind of see, I don't know if you can see that, but you'll kind of see that it's got, if I can hold on to it, it's got this ridge right here. You can see that. Get that in glare. And same thing right there. Okay, so you want to just match that up so that when you put this on, it just kind of fits right into place like that. Now, these are plastic. I'm using plastic weld. You can use super glue or another plastic glue, and it should work. With this, just put a little bit on there, a little bit on there, and then we're going to stick this together. The plastic weld, it literally is that. It's melting the plastic together so that it kind of welds it, just like a welder's torch would weld two pieces of metal together. So we're going to give that a second to dry, and while we're doing that, we're going to take a look at our legs. And so your legs have, you can always tell them apart because they've got this little divot right there, and that's going to fit right into that ball right there. So you can kind of see it doesn't fit perfect, so it's not going to go snug up against it. You have a little bit of leeway to, you know, how do you want to position that leg. Okay. So again, a little bit of the weld there, right there. And now quickly I'm going to set that up like that. You kind of have us, since it's both legs are straight, kind of set it so it's kind of like the legs are spread apart. He's taking aim. Okay, now we're going to let that sit for a second while we let that dry. The fan's on, so it's actually drying relatively quickly. You can pull this apart, but you'll see where it's melted, so I don't want to do that. All right, there's two more things that I need to put onto this leg, and that is the side armor and the front plate here. Now, if you look at the pictures carefully, you'll see that these are kind of positioned like that. So that's why when I laid them out, it would be easy to just pick them up and place them in the correct spot. See that. Okay. So there. Put that in position like so. And again, these have a little, they have little divots on the back here to kind of help you get that into the right spot. So I want it like that. And if you're dealing with the plastic weld, you do need to move. You don't have to move super fast, but you do need to be quick with it. Hold those in place for a second. All right. I'm going to, since this video is going to get long, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. I'm going to finish the legs, and then I'll be back. All right. With the legs done, I want to tell you a little trick that I did. I use glue dots a lot. So the reason I do that is I stuck them down on the base, and this way I could position his legs how I wanted them, and they won't move. So while they're drying, they may have a tendency to move, or while you're trying to put other pieces on, the leg might move back in, so that you have them apart, and then they kind of squeeze back together. This will help stop that from happening, and it'll help hold everything in position while it all dries and finishes curing. And then when we're done, I can just peel him off, and that'll work. Now, if I look around, do I see any gaps that I want to fill? I really don't have any gaps that I want to fill with these extra pieces, but if I did, I could just, put one here or over on this side. It's totally up to you if you want them. I don't really think I need them at this moment. So I'm going to move on to the head. There's two antennae. This is a very, very fiddly little bit. So it's going to take a little bit of work, but you can see right here, so before I glue that in, if you look at the back of his antenna, you've got this little notch right there. Make sure you can see that, okay? And that's going to fit right into here. And you can kind of position these, you know, how high up you want them. I like them kind of back at like a 45-degree angle so they don't really look like rabbit ears. For those of you that remember rabbit ears on TVs. But I'm going to put that in there like that. A little bit like that. I do need to let this dry for just a few seconds. Probably I'm going to let it dry here for a minute, and then I'll do the other side. So when I get back, I will have the body parts cut out, the arms, the shoulders, and the torso that were what we're going to use for this model. So I will be right back. Okay, so I have the shoulders. I went ahead and pulled out all 4 arms so we can kind of figure out which ones we want to use. The different weapons that we're going to need to hold, and the torso and the engine in the back. So again, this torso, if you can let me catch it in the glare, right here, fits right into this slot there. Okay, so again, we're going to slap that on there, that on, and those should just kind of fit nicely together. Okay, like so. Okay, now to position, how do we want our arms to be positioned? So, as you can kind of see, here's the 2 right arm options and our left arm options. So it's kind of 90-degree angle, 30, 45-degree angle maybe. So you have a, there you go. You can kind of see a little bit of an idea of how those will fit together. So it's also a good idea to realize that, hey, okay, so to make him hold the gun, we're going to need to cut this part of the gun off, the handle, but it could fit like right there. It might run into, at this point, it could run into the shoulder blade. So these shoulders have a groove and the ball. So the ball will fit here. Okay, so you can kind of see that. And then the arms will just slide right in there. So we want to make sure that, hey, if he's holding this, you can really still be able to hold the gun. Okay, so that might be a little difficult to get that gun on there. So we could use a different arm. Make his arm like that. And now the gun would fit. Okay, or you could just put the gun on his left arm. So, you know, it's totally up to you how you want your model to hold, how you want their arms to be, you know, which direction, and you have some leeway which you can actually rotate this so you can kind of give, you know, let him where he could be holding the gun up in the air. So let's go ahead and do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and put my weld right there. I'm going to put some weld on that. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to position it so that it will be up in the air. So now when we put the arm in, yeah, it'll be much higher up. Okay. Or if you wanted to, you know, you can position it so his gun is pointing down. So different ways of how you want to position the arms. Just, you know, trying to go for an action pose. However you think he should look. You know, he could be looking this way, having his gun up, ready to draw. and to attach the arm. So when you cut these off, you want to be very careful. Do not cut off these little sticks. Okay, let me find another sprue where I still have the arms attached. So as you can see right here, these, don't cut that off. Okay, get up here right where you'll see that it kind of becomes part of the arm versus just the sprue, like right here. Don't cut that off, because that is what's going to slot into the arm socket. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some weld on there, get some weld in here, and now okay, kind of like that. So now when it sits up here, he gets it like that, and he's really got that gun pointed where I want him. You know, he's got it pointed where he's looking. So let's do the other shoulder. How do we want that one to look? So there's a couple of things we can. If he's turning to the right, we might want that arm back a little bit, so it looks like he's coming around this way. Not that if you can see me here. Let me switch back real quick. So my thinking is, if his right arm is coming up, here, let me get you this way. If his right arm is coming up here, I might want this arm like he's pulling out, so he's turning this way, right? So let's do that. Okay, so set that up. Going to use that one. Go that direction, or well, like that. I think I like this one. All right, so again, get our glue on here. Get our glue on here. You can glue the arms in first. Totally up to you. I'm going to kind of angle that back like that. Okay. I think that'll work. I need to go ahead and twist it just a touch more. There we go. All right, we're getting closer. Yep, I think that's looking like I was hoping it would. Okay, so again with this ball saw, you can give him a little bit of leeway too. So you can also make him, you know, lean back, like he's looking up, looking down. You know, he's kind of twisting to come around. So again, you know, these are well done models of how you want him to look. So I'm going to go ahead and get that positioned how I think I want it. Really make him look like he's bringing that gun around. Okay, not even, just at a slight angle. Just so it looks like he's kind of bending over as he's whipping that around. And now I'll go ahead and glue his head on. Okay, again, there's a little socket there for that ball to fit in. Yeah, as I drop his head. And since I don't want his head to be completely straight there, I want it to turn slightly as well. So now it really kind of gives him a realistic action pose to, hey, he's head's turned, turning his body to match. All right, there we go. So now we just need to attach our weapons, and as I said before, he's going to have this medium auto cannon, which is going to fit onto that arm. He's got rocket pack, which could go on either side. Could go over on this side, and again, when you cut that rocket pack off, there's this little piece. Don't cut that off, okay? Because that will fit into either side. So, and if you look at these, it's basically the same on both sides. So it's not like one side sticks out bigger than the other to make it like it's supposed to, fit only one way. You can put that on either side. Okay. So if we want it to look like that, we can do that, or we can put it on this side. Up to you, whichever side you want to put it on. I think it looks better on that side, actually. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. So we'll put a little bit there. Now, if it's a tight fit, like this weld, like I said, it melts it so that it literally just slots right into place. Okay, it might be easier for you if you're going to paint things. You might want to leave the weapons off to paint them and get in all the spots. That's totally up to you. It would make it easier to get into all the different places without, outfit even putting them completely together too. You might put the torso together with the arms. You might and then leave the legs separate so you can get into all the spaces. I will just paint around it. If you've watched any of my painting videos, I go for 3-foot tabletop. Works for me. All I did right here is I just cut the grip of the medium auto cannon off. So what was this? I just cut that off. Why? Yes, that's where his hand's gonna go. Okay. So I'm gonna clean that up just a little bit, so that it will sit flush. Okay. Remember, always cut away from you, never cut towards you. And since it's going to touch his whole arm, I'm going to put the weld down the length of his arm, so that way I get a much better bond. And let that sit for a second. Now I want to check, make sure it looks good from the top. It's straight. Alright, there we go. Very cool. Now, again, I can take it off real quick. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about with this weld. It does kind of melt the parts together. But, once it's dry, it loses its welding ability. So I just wanted to reposition that slightly over, just a touch. All right, there we go. Now once that's completely dry, those two pieces will be much, much more difficult to pull apart because they've basically been welded into one plastic piece. Last thing is the knife. You could put the knife here. You could put the knife underneath, like he's holding it overhand. You could, if you wanted, you could just attach the knife to his belt. Like if he was just had it on his belt. I mean, it's up to you how you want to model your model. It's your model. You do what you want with it. I'm not really sure how I want to attach the blade for right now. I could attach it like that, which is kind of cool. Looks like he's getting ready to stab down. I'm not 100% sure how I want to do him yet as far as that blade goes. So, at some point, I'll decide. Could go this way. Could go this way. Up. I do kind of like it down because it would be like he's coming down on top of of another robot or of another gear, ready to stick that vibro blade in and twist it around. But like I said, not 100% sure how I want to put that together, but there you go. So other than that, he's done, guys. Now, granted, this was a long video. I'm talking you through a lot of the steps, and we spent 15 minutes talking about the sprue and the different parts. Sorry about that. The sprue, the different parts of the model, and that. So, you know, like I said, it can be a little daunting when you first look at, you know, this sprue of all these parts, and if you're not a modeler, you haven't put models together in years, or you've never done it before, it can seem a little overwhelming. Don't let it. Just get in there, follow along with the video. If you don't have plastic weld, I think I ordered this off Amazon because my local stores don't carry it. You can order off Amazon. If you get it local, great. There's other plastic glues which you can use, or just use super glue. My personal favorite right now is Gorilla Glue, which would work just fine. Just be careful with the super glue, because once it's stuck, you really don't get the pieces apart and don't want to get it on your fingers. This, you don't want to get on your fingers either. If you do, make sure as soon as you're done, you wash your hands. So I'm going to go do it as soon as we're done here, because I did get a little bit on. But other than that, guys, I hope this has helped. Heavy Gear Blitz, I'm very excited about getting the rest of these models done, moving over to new coal and getting those models built, and then getting this on the sorry about that. There we go. And then getting this onto on the table and playing the game, and possibly getting it filmed for you as we learn how to play the game. So anyway, I hope this has helped. Thanks for sticking with me all the way through it. We'll do another one of the Peace River. We'll do the Warrior 4, and then we've got some skirmishers. We've got 4 different models to do. I'll probably do one for each one, just so that if you're having trouble with it, if you're not sure, you can follow along with me and we'll build it together. So anyway, once they're all built, then the painting comes along, so we'll do that soon. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Let me know what your favorite factions are, because I'm really interested. I have Peace River and I have New Coal. For me, I really like the look of the North and the South. Those two armies, I kind of like. Those are really cool. They just, I don't know why, I like them. I really do. And I also like the Black Talons. I might actually get a Black Talon arm just because I think they look really cool. Anyway, what are your favorites? And how do you play heavy gear? You know, when you play, do you play 50 points, 100 points, or 150 points? In this box set, I think I got, with doing some of the variations, I got close to about 118, 119 points. I think you can get 120 points easy, adding a couple of the, like, you know, the chieftain upgrades. I didn't add any of those upgrades, so you know, you're pretty close to 150 points, just with what comes in this box. You know, 1 or 2 more models and you're there, or 1 big model and you're there. So anyway, let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, it really helps. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Bye now.